Okay. Hello, 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 everyone. I'm allowing folks to slowly join us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Great to see folks joining us back for another culture chat. We're gonna, as usual, maybe wait like 30 seconds. Don't want to wait too long because we recognize that this is most likely during folks' lunch break. Is mostly during folks' lunch break or you have other things to do. So we want to be mindful of that. So 12:01, we will get started. But thank you again for joining us for another culture chat.
Yeah.
And it is 12:01. All right. So greetings, everyone, and welcome back to Culture Chats. My name is Dobijoki Emanuela Brinji, and I am the community manager here at Culture Check. So before we get started, I just want to make sure that we acknowledge the land that we are on. And so the way that I do the land acknowledgement is very informal, but it still recognizes the importance of us being connected to where we are and learning about where we are. So I am a visitor on Turtle Island, but currently I am in South Africa. And we recognize that there are Indigenous people, regardless of where we are situated. If you're in Canada right now, you recognize you're on Indigenous land. I'm in South Africa, I recognize the land that I'm on as well. And so regardless of where you're situated, just know that you have a duty to honor the land and its people and their way of being and doing. And so this is an ongoing journey, and recognizing your relationship to the land is something that is extremely important, especially given what Indigenous people have experienced since colonization. And so I recognize my positionality as a leader in this space and to inform and acknowledge my positionality. And so before we even get further into the session, I just want to make sure that we acknowledge Leona, who is behind the scenes. She is helping us with tech. And so we want to make sure that we give her a shout out as well. And so for those who are new, Culture Chats is a speaker series which is uniquely crafted to support the career development of racialized professionals. So each month we have leading experts like Melissa joining us to speak on various topics that can help racialized professionals learn necessary skills to level up their careers. And so the way this session goes is that we have about 30 to 35 minutes of the presentation by our speaker, and then we leave about 15 to 20 minutes for Q&A. So if you look at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a Q&A box. Please recognize that it is not a chat box. We don't have the chat box open today. So as the session goes, please feel free to put your questions in there, and then we'll get to it at the end of the session. And we encourage your participation because Melissa has offered one free consulting session with a lucky participant. So we'll let you know how you could get that afterwards, but part of it is participation. So please do ask your questions. And let's see what else I have to say here. Okay, now I'm just gonna be welcoming our speaker. So Melissa Zuleta Jimenez is a Colombian-born woman based in Canada. She is a social media specialist with an expertise in public relations and political science. Melissa has worked across a variety of industries and sectors to support clients with their brand storytelling. Melissa has been working in the digital marketing space for a number of years and strives to bring people's ideas to life through collaboration and creativity. Melissa is passionate about many things, especially art, film, cooking, spending time with friends and family, and cuddling with her three-legged tabby, Cleo. Welcome, Melissa. The floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here, and we have lots to cover. Emmanuel kind of covered my background. I'm currently working with a digital marketing agency based in London, Ontario, where we provide marketing support to companies that maybe don't have the capability due to their size of their marketing departments or they just need extra support with their campaigns. So let's get started. All right. So how do we level up our self-marketing? For today's presentation, we'll go through the power of social media, how to become your own PR manager, tools that you can use in order to connect with your network, how to optimize your social media profile, and we will create a personal brand statement together at the end. So the power of social media. Social media is an incredibly powerful tool, especially when it's used correctly. It can really connect us with people that share interests and values. It can help mobilize important movements and even impact important elections, as we saw in 2016. However, from a branding perspective, social media really offers an avenue for brands to engage with their target audience and influence them with content. It provides brands with the opportunity to shape people's perceptions and form their own narrative. And we see this a lot with brands and celebrities alike. They use public relations as a way to really shape a narrative about who they are and what they represent. For racialized people, though, social media really allows us to connect with our own communities, both near and far. And it can also be an inexpensive tool to network with our industry peers, especially when we're starting out our own professional journeys, either as newcomers to a new country or recent grads. So how do we become your own peer manager? But before I even start out with this slide, I kind of want to define what public relations is, because I know that people may have different perceptions and definitions. But public relations essentially can be defined as a strategic communication from a brand to the public. And in that way, they maintain or they cultivate a public image or respond to public discourse. And social media is a tool that falls under the umbrella of public relations. So now that we have that definition out of the way, let's look at 4 ways that we can become our own PR manager. So these are just really important things to keep in mind. The first one, very self-explanatory. You need to know your audience because you need to understand who it is that you're talking to. Are you reaching out to connect to a CEO of a company? Are you looking for mentorship? Are you looking to reach out to a hiring manager, or are you simply hoping to create content for your audience? So it's important to really know who it is that you're looking to connect with. And some questions that you can ask as you're going through this process is, what's your audience's biggest struggle? What's a problem that needs to be solved? Are there any trending topics that you can add your expertise or experience on? Some recommendations could be going on the Explore page on Instagram, see what trending topics are on Twitter, even look at people's LinkedIn profiles to see what they're talking about, what conversations they're leading, and if there's any gaps that you can fill in. And I want to highlight that as a racialized person myself, and from the work that I've done with other people from racialized backgrounds, we have a plethora of both personal and professional experiences that are incredibly valuable, and they can be used to fill any gaps in order to problem solve. Everyone has a unique perspective, and you should share that with your audience. So now that you know who your audience is, this is the way that you start to build your relationships. Obviously, face-to-face will never be fully replaced by email or text, but there is a time and place for both. And I definitely encourage people to have a balance when they can. Definitely try to schedule coffee meetings or sit downs if you're looking for mentorship. This will help you really establish a really strong connection, and it makes a great first impression. From my personal experience, people really want to share their own expertise and knowledge. So don't be shy and don't auto-reject. That's my #1 motto in life. Let people let you know what their capabilities are. So one thing that we're trained when we're studying public relations is how to be proactive in a crisis. Because making mistakes is human and it's inevitable. I know that I've made my mistakes in many of my jobs, but the main thing to remember is to always remain calm and make sure that you address the issue head on. And rely on your team. That's what they're for. Make sure that you're always asking questions, because this is another learning opportunity for yourself and for your team as well. So it's just better to be proactive than reactive. And in order to make sure that you're sustaining relationships, staying in touch is crucial. It also allows you to stay in the back of people's minds. And also, don't be shy to reach out and let people know when you've got the promotion or you found the job of your dreams and you landed the position. If you met with someone for mentorship and they provided really valuable advice that you followed and it worked in your favor, definitely let them know. People really love receiving great news. And it's kind of nice to hear that your experiences were valuable to someone else and they were able to achieve what they were hoping to. So don't be scared to reach out. So now that we know how to become our own PR manager, it's time to apply these when you're connecting with your network. For this particular slide, I want to focus on LinkedIn since it is a professional platform. But there are a few tools that LinkedIn offers for free that you can use in order to connect and engage with your audience. So here's just the top 4 that I've identified. So creator tools in LinkedIn. So these are tools that allows you to create content. It drives engagement with your audience. Just make sure that you have at least 150 connections in order to enable these. But when you do enable them, you can host LinkedIn live events. You can connect with your professional community via LinkedIn audio events. You can even create newsletters or use a follow link to easily share personalized links or buttons for your web channels. And it really helps to kind of round up your branding and it makes you look very professional. So the following one is very important to me because I have a very long last name and some people either mispronounce it or even worse, they don't even try to say it. So the name pronunciation tool is something that LinkedIn has developed in order to make sure that people correctly address you and address you the way that you want to be addressed. This tool is available only on the mobile app, not the desktop. But everyone has a unique name and it deserves to be said correctly. So I definitely encourage everyone to use this tool. Groups on LinkedIn, I have to say, are a fantastic starting point when you're completely new to an industry or you're just hoping to expand your network. There's literally groups to anything. If you're in mining and you're looking for groups with engineers or other people within the mining industry, you'll find those. If you're a lawyer looking for law societies, you'll find those. Literally, the world is your oyster. The only advice for me is just to make sure that your profile is incredibly updated before requesting to join a group. You don't want to appear as a bot. So make sure that you have a profile pic, make sure that your bio is updated, and make sure that your professional history is accurate and up to date as well. Following with joining groups on LinkedIn is connecting with people. That's exactly what LinkedIn is for. It's the platform for you to connect with other industry peers in order to build your network. So don't be shy to send a connection. Just make sure that when you do, that your message is personalized and specific to what you're hoping to get out of the interaction. Are you looking to meet for coffee or mentorship? Are you looking to connect with a recruiter about a potential job opening? You want to make sure that your message matches the tone and addresses the person that you want to connect with appropriately. So now that we know what to do when we're on LinkedIn, how do we optimize our profile? And it's incredibly vital to be able to market yourself on social media so that you can attract the right type of attention from your target audience. In this day and age, our social media profiles have become our portfolios. So these are just some things to really keep in mind as you start to grow your own social media presence. It's really important to have a brand statement. Your brand statement is literally the first interaction that you have with someone at a networking event, especially virtually. And it's your chance to make a good first impression. It should be short, it should be informative, it should be a snapshot of who you are and your professional experiences and what you bring to the table. Whenever you're starting to open your own social media accounts, it's very similar to like a mortar and brick business. Location is everything. Where is your audience? What platforms is your audience using the most? For example, if you're a graphic designer, it makes sense to use Instagram because you need to be able to showcase your skills, your work, your talent. If you're in academia, you might want to be on LinkedIn more often because that's where you probably find people that are within that same industry. So location is very important. And just really want to hone in on this. You really want to make sure that all of your information is complete and accurate. You want to be able to present the best version of yourself. This will really help direct and grow traffic to your networks. And it also showcases who you are, your work, and what you bring to the table. And create engaging content. Don't be shy. You have your own perspective that the world deserves to hear. I'm a social media coordinator, so this is what I do for a living. And I can tell you it definitely is time consuming. But it does allow to see, it allows other people to see what your expertise in. And don't feel obligated to post every day. That's definitely not recommended, but try to engage in any way that you can, whether it's commenting or whether you see an article and you have a perspective that you want to add, or you want to highlight something about that article or post. Things like that can really help people see what it is that you offer. So now that we know how to optimize our social media profile, it's time to create a personal brand statement. So again, personal branding is a practice of people marketing themselves and their careers as brands. And it's important that your brand statement provides an insight into who you are and the value that you bring. So these are some questions that you can use when you're developing and creating your own. This is also included in the worksheet, which will be shared at the end. So if you want to go home and try it on your own, you will have the opportunity to do that as well. So one of the first questions that you want to ask is, what are the 3 or 4 keywords that really define you? What are your strengths? What are your areas of experience? Or simply, what are personal qualities that you find that have been very helpful into how you navigate both your personal and your professional life? So for me, it would be my curiosity, my resourcefulness, and my creativity. And what's an essence factor? What really makes you stand apart from everyone else? I would have to say that in my personal case, my adaptability. I've had the chance to work across many sectors and industries throughout my professional career. And this really allows me to adapt really quickly to changing circumstances and expectations. And what are your core values? So what are the principles that guide your work and your approach to life? For me, it would have to be honesty, courage, and leading with kindness. And the last question that you want to ask is, who do you love to do these things for? What's a favorite job? What's a client that you really love working with? Or even a colleague that you recall that you had a great relationship with and you were like, I wish everyone was like this person. Mine is a little bit more personal. So I'm a woman and I also come from a racialized background, and I can't separate the two. I belong to those demographics. And in my experiences, I've really enjoyed working with women from racialized backgrounds specifically and seeing them grow and supporting them as they achieve their dreams. So I've kind of made it a mini mission of my life to continue that. So once you have those 4 questions answered, you create a sentence for each. So I am curious, resourceful, and creative. I am unique because I adapt quickly to changing circumstances. I strive to be honest, courageous, and lead with kindness. And I want to work with women from all backgrounds in order to support them in achieving their personal and professional goals. So once you have your 4 sentences, you want to combine all of these statements together, and that's how you would develop your own personal brand statement. So combining all of these, it would be, I am curious. I'm a curious, resourceful, and creative public relations expert, able to quickly adapt to changing circumstances. I strive to be honest, courageous in my work, and always lead with kindness. By applying my problem-solving skills and thinking out of the box mentality, I hope to empower women from racialized backgrounds and support them in achieving their personal and professional goals. And your personal brand statement is something that you can share on your social bio. So for example, LinkedIn on your about section, or this is something that you can kind of keep in the back of your mind when you're networking, because this is a little snapshot of what you want people to know about you. So once you have your personal brand statement, you can continue on with using and optimizing your social media profiles. And that brings us to the end of our presentation. And I want to say thank you to everyone. And I think now we begin the Q&A section. So I'll let Obijoki take it away.